Hey guys, welcome. My name is Marina. I'm the founder of Creatively, and I'm joined here by my husband, Alex.
Hello, everyone.
I feel like deja vu with how we start. So tonight we are going to be painting Starry Night, which is actually Alex's favorite painting, or so he says it is.
Big facts.
It might be one of my favorites too, but it's super fun to paint, and
You
I'm
can't
so
just steal
excited to
my
show you.
answers. You know this, right?
We can't like the same painting? So we are going to give it about 10 minutes or so for you guys to set up. In the meantime, we're going to go through our setup over here. And you're welcome to take this time to continue your setup, grab a drink, what else? And just hang out. And in the meantime, please say hi in the chat. Let us know where you're from.
If
Let
it's
us,
your first time.
if it's your first time with us, or if it's your first time painting.
In general.
In general.
That's always exciting too.
And let us know what you're drinking. I know it's a Tuesday,
Going up
but
on a Tuesday.
we're turning it up tonight.
Going up on a Tuesday.
So welcome, guys. Welcome, Nancy, Angie, Cheryl. We got people from Wisconsin, from Georgia, from New York. So we are streaming from Queens, New York. What? Anyone else from Queens? Ooh, we wish we had Van Gogh vodka as well. That is a very good suggestion. Do we have an international crew tonight? Anyone from Canada? We got Rhode Island, Houston. Awesome. Welcome, guys. So, Alex, you ready? I'm going to go through our setup over here.
Was born ready, coach. Let's do it.
Okay, so we have our 12 by 12 canvas.
Check.
A little delayed there. We have our palette paper facing shiny side up.
Very clear, shiny side up. Check.
We also have 5 colors of paint. We have cobalt blue, not phthalo blue this time, cobalt blue, white, yellow, red, and black.
Check.
So basically we're only using the primary colors tonight plus white and black. And then we also have our cup with water.
Clearly labeled.
Clearly labeled paint water.
Pro tip. Label your cups.
And then we also have 2 brushes. So we have a large flathead brush size 16 and a small round brush size 4.
2 brushes. Check. Let's do this.
We also have a piece of paper towel.
A little do-it-yourself item.
Does not come in the box. And then we also have our step-by-step instructions and sample piece here.
Check and check.
And then we also have a design outline and tracing paper.
Design and trace. Check.
So we actually pinned a link to the design outline, tracing paper, step-by-step instructions, and sample piece, which you could download a high-resolution file and print it out and then trace it onto your canvas. But plot twist, I just want to let you guys know we will not be using the design outline for this tutorial, but it's there for you if you need it, if you need some extra guidance. You could totally use it, and we do not consider it cheating. But this painting is all about free movement and being spontaneous, so we decided not to use it for this tutorial. But you are more than welcome to.
I like it.
And then we're missing something. Last but not least, we do have our adult beverage tonight.
Very clearly labeled.
Very clearly labeled, not paint water.
So we do not dip.
So we do not dip. So I don't even know what this is. Is this a vodka soda?
With a little lime.
And it's not Van Gogh vodka, but that would have been very special.
That would have been.
Alex,
Preparedness.
what do you have?
I got me a little, let's call it a Japanese whiskey. It's a very light one. I'm actually pretty intrigued.
What is it called? It's not the
No, it's the Hatozaki.
Hafosaki.
Hato.
Hato.
Hato Zaki.
Got it. Okay.
Also,
Very fancy.
we do
there.
have international in the house. Welcome, Canada. Great Way North making a presence.
Okay, we see Helen, Barb from
it.
Canada, from Vancouver. Woohoo! Welcome, guys. So we have about 3 minutes to go. So you are
show the.
No, why do
every time?
Every time, because it's not in front of me,
every
so it's
time.
I just never remember. So if you guys purchased our Creatively box, which actually comes with all of these supplies, you could actually make an easel right out of your box. So the way you do that is you just simply fold the lid back and you put a piece of tape on, let me see where the camera is, on this side and on this side, and it becomes your easel, and you could just stand it up and put your canvas right into it. And then you could use it to view your painting from a distance, which is super helpful. So definitely feel free to do that. It takes about 10 seconds or so. And I always forget to show that at the beginning, but thankfully there's Alex to remind me.
Every time, folks. Every time.
So if you guys are just hanging out, please feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and also give us a like on this feed. Extra points for that.
Yes. Yes.
Should we mention?
Maybe like a teaser, little hey, what's happening?
Is it too soon?
Well, that's why it's called a teaser.
Okay. So I'm going to let you guys know, and you probably saw this on several posts that we made, that we might be doing a giveaway later tonight. And we're going to tell you what it is later on in the night. But the way that you enter it is by commenting in the chat, because at the end of the evening, we're going to pick a random person from the chat. So the more you comment, the more chances you have of winning. And also, if you give us a like on the feed, you get some extra brownie points as well. Just a bonus. Did I sell that?
Oh yeah, that means the entry shines really bright. I love it.
And actually, last month we did a pretty awesome giveaway, which I just mailed out yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
It was an original painting by me, and we even varnished it before sending it out. So that was super exciting.
'Cause we fancy like that.
'Cause we fancy like that. All right, guys, for those of you who are just joining, so we do have a traceable pinned at the top of this chat, but I just want to let you know that for this tutorial, we won't be using it. So you are more than welcome to do so if you want some additional guidance. But we are going to just freestyle it for this tutorial, just because this painting is all about being spontaneous and just kind of going crazy on the canvas. So we're just going to do just that.
Just go crazy.
Okay, it's 8:10. Alex, are you ready? We're just super punctual tonight.
I got my brush in the air. I'm ready to dive right in.
Okay, guys. So we are going to start off with the Creatively Pledge. So I'm going to ask you to please raise your brush in your hand and repeat after me. I promise.
I promise.
To relax and have fun.
To relax and have fun.
To not judge my painting.
To not judge my painting.
Or the painting of others.
Or the painting of others.
And to be fearless.
And to be fearless. Boom.
Cheers, we are ready.
Who's ready? Let's do this.
All right. Do we have any first-time painters in the house? This is a super awesome painting to start with for your very first time. Okay, so we are gonna take our large brush and I'm just gonna dip it in water. And we are gonna use the cobalt blue and the white, and we're gonna mix like a medium bluish color. So I'm gonna take a lot of blue and some white and mix it together. And we're just gonna dive right in. So I am gonna create a diagonal line across my canvas, probably around 2/3 of the way down or so, just as my guide. So this is where my sky is gonna end. So it doesn't need to be perfect. We could totally fix it later on. And I'm gonna start covering my canvas with the blue color. So I'm just going in horizontal strokes all the way across, covering the entire sky. And I wanna keep the paint pretty thin because we're gonna be painting over it and it needs to be pretty dry for the next step.
So what you're trying to say is not lather it on.
Not lather it on, but we will be doing that later on for sure.
Save the lathering
Yes.
for later. Boom, tongue twister.
And we could use a little bit of water just to help spread the paint around. And I'm just covering this canvas. Okay, this color is really pretty. I'm just gonna say that straight up. We've been using a lot of phthalo blue, but this one is just really beautiful.
So, is that the
Cobalt,
cobalt? I was
blue.
like, threw a plot twist with the cobalt. I like it. We got old Australia in the house.
We do. Okay. I think it's their breakfast time right now, I would say.
What better way to start the day?
Seriously. I'm just using a little bit of water to help spread this paint around.
What's the key to like not using too much water? Like we're not trying to make it like watercolorish, right?
No. So it kind of is up to you. I usually don't use a lot of water, but some people who paint with acrylics use a lot more water, so it's a personal preference. It also depends on your paint because some acrylic paints are more watery than others. And this one is has a pretty thick consistency, so you might want to use a little bit more water to help spread it around. I don't think I answered your question.
Not quite, but I'm used to it. Also, correction. It's not old, it's Queensland. Thank you for the correction, Linda. My apologies.
I also did not see the cue there. Okay. So we want to make sure that our canvas is covered and you can't really see the white underneath the blue color.
I always wonder
This is
when
the
the first
easiest
time
part.
though we're gonna say it. I'm gonna say it once in the beginning. It always comes together in the end.
Especially for this one, it does.
So stay true to the path, folks. We'll come together.
So if you guys are not familiar with Creatively and you're joining for the very first time, first of all, welcome. And I want to let you know that Creatively, it's essentially a paint party in a box. And our goal is to bring people together through creativity, especially during crazy times like this. We want to give you guys an outlet to kind of relax and have fun from the comfort of your home, to turn off the TV, turn off your phones, and truly disconnect for these 1.5 hours or so. So this is really your time to kind of be together and be creative.
Who doesn't need a little R&R these days?
Seriously. So we're almost done covering the sky part.
I gotta say, I'm seeing a nice amount of first timers. I'm loving it. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. So I don't know how true this is, guys, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but from my research of Van Gogh and this painting, apparently he was painting it for about 12 months or so, and we'll be doing it in under 2 hours. So it's gonna be a little crazy.
Just let that sink in.
Just let that sink in. So it took him almost a year to paint this. We'll be doing it in under 2 hours, but feel free to take as much time as you need after this live and just continue working on it. It's hard to know when to stop for this one.
Did you know?
Tell me.
Because first, we'll be doing some fun facts about our dear Mr. Van Gogh. But, or building on that,
On what I just said?
No, on what I just. No, obviously on what I just said.
Okay.
Did you know that he actually attempted many other careers before settling and identifying as a painter? Can you name any? Ooh, plot twist, hello.
For some reason, I'm thinking writer.
Well, I'll say this, the fun facts page that you sent me only identified school teacher and preacher. So, you know.
School teacher and preacher.
So maybe school teacher involved some writing. Maybe I'll give you that stretch, but,
So I actually thought of writer because he wrote a bunch of letters during his lifetime, and that's kind of how we know a lot about him and his work. So that was just my initial guess. But that was an interesting fact. Thank you, Alex. Okay, guys, so we're gonna get to a slightly more intimidating part, but I just want to let you know that this is acrylics and we could change anything we want on the canvas at any time. So if you don't like how the next step comes out, you could always just fix the lines and paint right over it. So we are going to do this together, and we are gonna start with the swirl in the middle of the sky. So I'm gonna use my small brush for this, and I'm just gonna block out where it's gonna be. So I'm gonna use the color white for this. And your paint doesn't need to be perfectly dry at all, but we're just gonna map it out using our white paint. So I'm just gonna do a big swirly line in the middle of my sky. Kind of like this. So I'm going to show you what the original looks like, and you could also use your sample piece right here, which is going to guide you in what that shape looks like. But feel free to improvise. This is your painting, and you don't need to make the swirl exactly like the swirl in Starry Night. You can make it totally different, and as long as you follow the technique of this painting, it'll still look like a Starry Night.
We could all have like a unique swirl, bruh.
So this one is just a curvy shape, and this bottom part, so this is the second swirl. It's almost like an 8, I would say. Alex, what does that look like to you? Kind of looks like a sideways 8 or an infinity symbol to me.
Hold on, we had a riddle put in the comments, and I am actively enjoying it. I'm trying to read this. Ready? Why did the art thief's van run out of gas as he drove away from the museum? Julie, you have to tell me.
I feel like it's going to be a Van Gogh pun.
I certainly hope so.
Something with Van Gogh.
It couldn't go no more? It Van no go?
Oh my god, that's amazing.
That. Nicely done. Nicely done.
So this is my first swirl. And we're using white just because there's already a lot of white paint inside the swirl. So it's gonna be covered up with the paint anyway. So it's really easy for you to change the shape of it. So for example, if you made it too thin, you could always add an additional line underneath and just make it thicker. So don't worry too much about the initial shape of it. You could always change it up. And then I'm gonna do this kind of an 8 shape underneath. So it's going to be a circle here. I guess it's like an infinity shape. And then another one here. And then the swirl is continuing on the inside of this. Something like this. It doesn't need to be perfect. So this is what I got. I'm just gonna leave it for now. By the way, if anyone else has any art jokes or Van Gogh puns or anything else you want to share in the chat, please feel free to do so, or any fun facts. So then I'm gonna add the shapes for the stars and for the moon. So I'm actually gonna do the moon first, and I'm gonna switch over to my large brush because it's gonna be a larger circle that I'm gonna add here. So the moon is gonna go in the top right corner. So I'm just gonna do a circle. And I'm just gonna cover it in white. So I'm just blocking out where my moon is gonna go. So with this painting, feel free to place your moon anywhere you like in the sky. It doesn't need to be in the top right corner. And the same thing for the stars. So it doesn't need to be exactly like where the original Starry Night placed the stars. It could go anywhere on the canvas. And as long as you're following Van Gogh's technique, it'll still look like the Starry Night. So I'm actually, I don't know why I switched over to the large brush. I think I'm gonna use my small brush for this. So I'm going to continue adding some of the stars. So right now I'm just blocking them in by adding a circle. So there's going to be one other star kind of at the top of this swirl. And then there's going to be another one at the top here. Just make sure that you're varying the sizes of them because all of them are slightly different. So some of them are smaller, some of them are slightly larger. There's going to be one underneath the bottom swirl. And then there's going to be maybe two more over here, slightly smaller. And I'm going to add a few more to the top.
I'm so bad at trying to draw a freehand circle.
A freehand circle?
Just like 0% chance it ever ends up like a circle.
Alex, I think that you're breaking the rule of
I'm not,
creatively aware.
It's just
we don't judge our painting.
Sometimes
do you remember that little pledge that you just did?
A certain awareness. And I have said awareness.
I do not believe that for a second. And these don't need to be perfect circles, by the way. So I'm just going to paint them in using white as well because this is going to be my base color for them. And you could use your large brush for the larger circles that you have. I'm using my smaller one for now for these small ones on the top. Kind of looks like bubbles.
I see. It definitely does look like bubbles. It's a bubbly night.
So I think I'm going to switch over to my large brush just to get some of these other circles. So I'm just painting in here, and it doesn't need to be neat. It's just covering this shape. So this is where my stars are going to go. Feel free to add more of these circles if you want it to be a starry night. Definitely feel free to add more and feel free to place them anywhere you want on your canvas, as long as it's in the sky area. I don't know if it'll look good at the bottom.
That's the one requirement. They have
I
to be in
guess,
the sky.
but if you want to break that rule, we can't wait to see what you create.
We're like all for it.
Definitely go for it. Okay. So I'm super excited for this next step because this is essentially the Van Gogh technique. Are you ready for this, Alex? So we are going to be
ready.
Thank you.
Ready. Let's do this. Boom.
So we're going to be using a darker blue color. So I'm just going to mix it right now. And I'm going to kind of test it out on my canvas because I might need to use a little bit of black for this color, but maybe I might not. Who knows? I don't think I do yet, but I think I will later on. So I'm just going to use straight up cobalt blue right now. And I'm going to start by adding these small dashes to my sky. So they're super close together, but not really touching. And they're going to be following the movement of this entire sky. So if you have these circles here, they're going to be going in circles around your stars and following these swirls as well. So we're just going to begin by laying down these dashes kind of quickly on the canvas. And don't be afraid to just put your stroke down, leave it there, because you could always add another one and change it up later on. So I promise you, it's all going to come together in the end. Right now, it's going to look a little weird at first, probably for a while. So don't freak out. We are in this together.
Nobody freak out. Everybody stay calm. We got this.
And feel free to make your strokes of paint really thick. So Van Gogh was known for this specific style, and he used really thick layers of paint. And I guess he laid it on for 12 months or so, however long it took him to do the painting, where he kept adding more and more paint to his canvas until he built up the paint. So this is why I said in the beginning that it's kind of hard to know when to stop. I mean, you could be working on this for a year if you want to, or for 2 hours. So again, these strokes are going around these circular shapes and around the swirls as well. I feel like this technique is super relaxing because you could just keep going and it's really hard to mess up, you know, because then you just add another stroke and it doesn't really matter. So you could be totally spontaneous with it. That's why we actually did not use the design outline in the beginning, because this painting is all about being spontaneous. So now we're going around this next star.
They almost spontaneously broke out into song there.
Which one?
Nothing else matters. Oh, yes.
Wow.
Classic. Bringing it back.
Wow. You know, we unfortunately can't play music on this stream because we get shut down immediately by Facebook, but you guys are playing music in the background. That's totally cool. It helps with the creativity. So you could space out these strokes first and then just keep adding more and more until they're closer and closer together. So I'm just going around these stars right now, so it really adds to the movement in the sky. Alex, did you know that I think this is a theory that Van Gogh only sold one art piece in his lifetime? Something like that. Makes me a little bit sad.
That might be a true statement. Do you now, for bonus points?
Oh no.
Do you know what it was? Can you name that painting?
Wait, the painting that he sold?
Yes.
Ooh. If someone names it, do they get extra points for the giveaway? Will we enter their name 10 more times?
Yeah, obviously. Obviously.
Okay, but no Googling.
Okay, so that was a hard pass the buck. I don't know if everyone just noticed exactly what happened. We did not know the answer, so we immediately passed it to the
polling the audience.
Little ask.
The Red Vineyards. That actually sounds about right.
That is nearly the whole name of the painting.
Is it the abridged version?
Yeah, there's like 2 more words that follow, at least in your fun facts. But that is the closest answer we have so far.
So hold on, guys. I actually missed a step. So I'm going to add this step right now. So we are going to add a white swirl underneath. So all the way at the bottom of the sky, we're just going to do a swirly line. So we just add it in, no problem. And this is going to be this part of the painting, which is kind of the connector between the hills and the sky. So we are just mapping it out for reference, just so we know that this part is going to have more white. And then that's it. We could keep going with our brush strokes.
We got a couple of success.
So hold on. So did.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So what's the full name?
The Red Vineyards near Arles. And I might have butchered exactly the end of it, but ARLES.
AIRES, no? AR?
Yeah.
Okay.
LES.
Okay. If anyone could give us the pronunciation of that, that would be cool. I'm also adding some strokes of blue in between these 2 swirls, just to separate them a bit. And then I'm going around the swirls, just following their movement. And then just more horizontally on the side here where there's no shapes. So it already is kind of coming together, right?
Slowly but surely. Progress is a slow process.
It is. And we're all about the process here, not so much the final destination. So I'm gonna make my color a little bit darker. So I'm gonna add some black to this blue color. And I'm gonna add some darker strokes to the sky. So it's mostly gonna be on the left side here and then on the bottom. And then maybe a few on the right side, but not as much. So just if you want to, you could base it off of the sample, but definitely feel free to improvise and see where you could add it, wherever you like it. So I'm just adding it to this left side here, just going closer and closer together to my other strokes. And then also adding some at the bottom here. Do we know how much his painting sold for? The one painting that he sold.
Yeah, that's
because sadly,
without a further Google, that's
I don't
a 10
think it would
for Negatron. But did you know?
Uh-oh.
And maybe this is why you thought he was a writer.
Okay.
That he wrote over 800 letters during his lifetime to his brother and some close friends that documented much of his life. It's a lot.
So I did know that.
There you go. I mean, you kind of killed the punchline of amazement, but that's fine, you know. We can all just deal with that.
Thank you for sharing that one. So I'm just adding some of these darker blue strokes to parts of my sky. And just being pretty spontaneous with it. So just adding some brush strokes on the bottom, on the sides, just wherever I feel like it, pretty much.
Mary Jean with the 400 francs on the red vineyard.
400 francs?
In 18...
Do we know how much that would have been worth?
Quick extrapolation with inflation and such.
In dollars, please. Oh, 45. Oh, man.
But I think that's a direct.
I mean, no matter how
in
you put it.
1800, I mean $12 in 1800s might be
$2.44.
even worse. But still, by initial point stats of back then, it could be a whole lot.
All right, guys, so we're gonna continue adding more to the sky later on, but for now, I wanna focus on the swirls a little bit. So I'm gonna start by adding a lighter blue color to the swirls. So I'm just gonna wash my brush because I don't wanna use any black for this one. So I'm gonna use the cobalt blue and white for this one and create a lighter color than what I have here. I'm just gonna mix some blue and a little bit more white. And I'm just gonna go right into here and just add these short strokes. And I kind of want to make my paint pretty thick for this one and just have fun with it. So we're just following the shape of the swirl. I think it would be fun to use a palette knife for this painting. I think that's what Van Gogh actually used. So if you guys have a palette knife and you're bold and daring, feel free to do that and just lay the color on and just leave it there. Don't blend it and see what happens.
A palette knife?
A palette knife.
That would be
because that's how you get the paint to be really thick. It's
Oh, that's interesting.
It's a little bit more difficult with a brush to do that. So here is where you could actually change up the shape of the swirl. So if you don't like it, you could add more of these light blue strokes and change the shape of it. So if I want it to be bigger, I could just continue adding these light blue strokes on top of it. So that way it's going to appear to be bigger. And I want to make sure that I'm following the shape here. So these strokes are going to curve downward as the swirl is going down. And then for this bottom one, I'm just going to follow the shape around it. And go upward. Kind of like that. And then this other one is also going to go downward first and then up as it swirls around. So I could make my paint even lighter, and I could add more lighter strokes into the swirl so it almost looks white. So I'm mixing a lighter color just by adding more white to it. And I'm going to add some lighter strokes on the bottom of the swirl. And just being pretty spontaneous with it so it's not perfect on the bottom. It's kind of in random places. And then going up. I feel like I can do this for hours. And
there's something very therapeutic about it.
For sure. That's kind of the beauty of this painting, where you could just keep going for hours and hours and just continue building up this texture. But also, if you don't have this time, you could also get it done in about 2 hours or so, and it'll still look amazing. So I am gonna leave this for now, and we'll see what happens later on, because I might add more to the sky later on. But for now, I want to focus on the stars and the moon. So I'm just gonna wash my brush. And I'm gonna use some yellow. So similar technique where, because this is a circular shape, we're gonna be going in circles with the dashes. So I'm gonna start from the center of the circle and just go around it. So first it's gonna be kind of a yellow blob in the middle, and then I'm gonna spread out and just create dashes around it. And I'm branching out even past the white, so it mixes in with some of the blue, and it looks like it's kind of fading into the blue background. And some of it might turn a little bit green, which is okay. And you could always go over it with the blue color. And let's say if you added too much yellow, you could always take it away by adding blue dashes over it. So I'm gonna leave this one for now, but I might add more blue to it later on. We'll see what happens. And I'm gonna do the same thing for these smaller stars. So I'm starting out with a pretty big circle in the middle, and then I'm branching out and doing the dashes around it. And if anyone is daring and you're not using these blue colors and yellow colors for your sky, and you're choosing to use other colors like red, pink, purple, as long as you're doing the same technique, it'll still look like a starry night. It'll just look a little bit different and maybe even cooler. So it could be a reddish orange sky if you want it to be. Okay, that could look really cool. So I'm branching out and creating some smaller strokes past the white circle that I have. So it kind of looks like it's glowing.
The stars are definitely glowing.
Are they glowing too much? Too
No.
brightly?
They're right on point.
And some of these smaller ones maybe only have a few of these yellow strokes around them. So I'm just doing the same thing to these other stars. I'm just going around with my yellow and then going past the white circle and just branching it out a bit. I really love how much movement this entire painting has. If only Van Gogh knew we would be creating his artwork, you know, in the future. He would probably be really happy about that. I think one of his works sold for like, I don't want to throw out a random number, but I think it was for like almost 20 million, if I remember correctly.
Do you want to try again?
Ooh. 120 million?
Okay, so let's call those the two extremes and let's find the right middle point. 82 and a half.
82 and a half.
82
okay.
and a half. A healthy 82 and a half.
I would say that's a big difference from $2.44.
You know, that's what I'm saying. $2.18. I think it was like 80 something. Who knows what it might be now?
Insane. So I'm going to take some white and I'm going to add some white strokes to these star shapes as well. So I'm just adding some white around the star, also going in a circular shape and just being really spontaneous with my strokes. Maybe some of them are even overlapping the white, the yellow, not the white. And it's also going to make it look brighter because now you're doing a second coat of the white. and you're just laying it on much thicker. Okay, so this is starting to look pretty cool.
Definitely starting to get a little Starry Night, a little starry.
So I could also add some light blue strokes around these stars as well, just to vary it up a bit. And some of them are going to turn a little bit green, which is actually going to look really cool. I'm just adding a few of these lighter strokes around these stars as well, just in pretty random places. I feel like I keep working on this for forever.
We could.
We could,
but we
but
must
do we...
trudge on. We must.
So I'm going to wash my brush and I'm going to add the crescent moon. So I'm going to use orange for this. So I want to make sure my brush is totally clean. And this is probably the only time that we're going to be using red in this painting, but feel free to add red into your sky if you want to. So you could also just add a few strokes of red or pink or whatever you want into the sky, and it's going to look really cool. So I'm just going to mix some yellow and some red. And you might need to do a couple of layers for this moon. I have a little bit of blue in my color, but that's okay. And I'm just gonna paint a crescent over here on the right side. So it's just gonna be like a letter C. And I might want to do an additional layer later on when it dries a bit, just to make it a little bit more bright. And then I'm going to add some dots to these stars. So in the middle, I'm just going to add an orange dot. And the size of this is going to vary a little bit. So some of them might be a little bit larger, some of them might be smaller.
So with our dear valued friend Ida, she extrapolated that 100 francs in 1880 would be about 200, let's call it 50K if we're going to keep it even. into 2021. So 400 francs. Let's call it. He sold it for a cool mill.
No.
That's what the equivalent of 400 francs.
I don't think that's possible. Because he was a very poor man all his life. So something is off here. I don't know what it is. We're going to need to do additional research later on.
I don't think you fully grasped everything, but...
What?
Nothing, my dear.
Has anyone done the Van Gogh immersive experience? It was in New York for quite a while, and Alex and I were lucky enough to see it, and it was pretty spectacular, I would say. I don't know if it's in any other cities at the moment. Probably is, but definitely recommend it if it's in your city. It was really awesome. So I'm trying to wash my brush off this orange. So I'm going to take some white and I'm going to do this stripe underneath the sky. So I'm just layering on some white strokes, following its curves. So I'm going to add a little bit of green to my sky, because why not? So I'm going to mix a little bit of yellow into my blue. So this is going to be super subtle. So I'm going to add a little bit of green to this swirl, and it might be too dark, so I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. And just play around with the color until you get something that you like. So I'm just going to add a few strokes of green in random parts of my swirl just to give it a little bit of variation. And I could also add this green to other parts of the sky if I want to. And I do want to, obviously. And I think I'm going to fix this bottom swirl over here because I want it to look a bit more swirly. So I'm going to take more of my white. So I'm going to do a super light blue color. And I'm just going to add some more swirls going around. So this might look a little weird now because I think I need some dark swirls in between to kind of give this definition. So I'm just gonna wash my brush and add some blue strokes in between this shape so that way the swirl is more defined, if that makes sense. So I'm just adding it in between here. Kind of defining the swirl. So definitely play around with it, see what happens, because you could always add more colors to it later on or at any given point. So I'm going to move on to the hills. Alex, you ready for this?
Oh, you know I'm always ready.
So I'm going to take some blue and I'm just going to outline the shapes of my hills. So feel free to improvise for this. You don't have to make it exactly how we have it in this painting. So your lines could vary as much as you want. So first I'm going to draw a wavy line underneath here. So if you remember, the original painting actually has kind of a city scene on the bottom here. So there's like a church and some houses on the bottom. So this is a simplified version. So feel free to add some houses or a church or whatever you want to in the background if you are feeling fearless tonight. So we're just going to be doing rolling hills, but feel free to change it up if you want to. So I'm going to add another curvy line underneath here.
Do you mean like tumbling hills?
What did I say? Rolling hills?
That was supposed to be a terrible joke that you were just supposed to not ask further clarification on, but that was...
Sorry.
Swing
I got that.
Never mind. Anywho, moving along.
Wow. I would love to hear that again, but I'm not gonna subject our viewers to that. So I'm gonna add a hill here. And maybe one over here. Something like that. So it doesn't need to be exact, it's just some curves for your hills. And I'm just gonna continue filling in this swirl on the bottom here, the one that's almost white, and it's kind of separating the hills and the sky. So I'm just gonna go in here and I'm just gonna add some lighter blue strokes and then go in there again and add some white strokes as well, just to make it mostly white. I feel like everyone's really focused today. How are you all doing? I cannot wait to see how everyone's version of Starry Night comes out.
I'm actually really excited about it. But you know, it's one of those that requires our full attention, full focus. All in,
this
baby.
One?
All in.
I love it. I love the concentration. We love seeing what you guys created after this. So if you can post it on social, either on Instagram or Facebook, and use our hashtag, which is on the bottom of the screen, it's Creatively Box, we'll be able to see it and then share it as well. So definitely show it off once you're done. So for this hill over here, so the first one, I'm actually going to be using vertical strokes for this one. So it's going to look a little interesting. It almost looks like waves to me, right, Alex? Like it almost looks like water.
I can see
because
that.
we're using vertical strokes, but I thought it looks kind of cool.
I can see that.
So
I like it.
We're gonna be using that technique, but feel free to go horizontally with yours and see what happens. Because why not? So I'm just starting out by doing these curves, but vertically instead of horizontally all the way across. And I might switch over to my smaller brush just because it's easier to do these kinds of dashes. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch to the smaller one. And I'm just doing vertical curves all the way across. So they're not straight lines, but they're curved, following the shape of this hill. So it's actually easier if you paint in all of these hills first and then do the dashes. So we're actually gonna do that. So I'm gonna create a light blue color and I'm gonna paint in all the hills. So I'm just covering them. And I'm still kind of going in the direction of these hills. So I'm not going completely horizontally, but kind of moving still vertically, but just covering this large shape with a solid color first. So I'm just coloring this in.
Did you know?
Let's see if I did.
Let's hit it with the double doozy. First, our boy Mr. Van Gogh, he didn't start painting when he was very young. Do you know what age he started actually to paint?
I actually do know this one, but I'm not going to say anything.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Listen, I did take a lot of art history in school.
Did you?
I did. It was a long time ago,
I
but
do you even
I do
remember
remember this because he was an interesting cat. And I did go to his exhibits and the museum in Amsterdam, so which was also a very long time ago, unfortunately.
Are you just trying to brag about me going to Amsterdam? Don't lie to me. Cheryl, you're very close.
Oh, Cheryl is very close. Off by 1.
Wow. Why don't you just focus on the hills, love? Just wow.
Well, we did say that she's very close.
Bingo. Bingo, Sherry.
Yes.
The ripe old age
27.
of 27. It's pretty impressive.
That's pretty incredible to start at that age.
Believed to be self-taught? So, building on that, it was said he was actually very busy during this time. Do you know roughly how many artworks he created?
What do you mean, like throughout his lifetime? Or?
Throughout his, let's call it 10-year span where he was...
Oh, before he died.
Indeed, you know, because that happened.
I forgot that he was so young. I would say over 1,000. 800, okay.
So you're closer.
I would say over 1,000.
And you're still off.
Okay. Under, over.
Over.
Over?
Yeah, so, like your guess, are you saying, or the answer? No, your guess is under.
Okay.
Quite.
$1,500.
Getting warmer.
Levy says 1,200.
She's got most of the digits correct. Just need to rearrange a couple of them.
Rearrange it. 2,100.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
But whoever said 800, that is relevant in the terms of, it was said that he had around 800 or 860 oil paintings in terms of just oil paintings. But overall artworks, 2,100. It's a lot. It's a lot. Over 10 years?
Pretty impressive.
I'll let you do that own math on your
I was about to say, can you do the math? Very inspiring. So moving quite along, so we've covered the hills with a base layer, and now we're gonna add the lines to give it some movement. So I'm gonna start on the top hill, and I'm just gonna continue these lines going downward. So they're curving and going down. And I'm actually going to make this color a little bit darker, so I'm going to add a little bit of black to it. And then you could add lines that are more of a medium blue just to vary it up a bit. So I'm going to add some shadows to the hills. So the shadows are going to be mostly on the bottom of the hill, and then the top of the hill is going to have a highlight. So I'm going to start with the shadows. I'm just going to be using the cobalt blue for now. And I'm just going to add some lines to the bottom of this hill. Also, it's following the shape of this hill. So this shadow is looking a bit extreme, so I'm just going to add the base color over it a bit just to soften it up. So I'm just going to mix the lighter blue and I'm just going to go right into it. And go right over it. So it softens that shadow. So now it's looking pretty good. And you could add a highlight to the top of the hill by adding a lighter blue color. And just make sure that your curves are following the movement of this hill. And while your paint is wet, it's pretty easy to blend the colors together. Even though you're not really blending, you're just kind of laying down these strokes next to each other. But the more you do them, the more they're going to go into the previous color. So this is my first hill, and I'm going to continue using the same technique for these other hills. I'm going to go in here with the cobalt blue, and I'm just going to start from the bottom of the hill. So this is going to be the shadow, and then I'm going to go over it with the base color. So starting from the top of the hill, going right into the shadow. Just remember, it doesn't need to be perfect. You want to make sure that it has a lot of movement. So you don't want it to be perfectly blended.
I'm a big fan of what's being put down right now.
So I'm going to do the same thing for the hill in the middle, where it's going to have a shadow on the bottom of it. So similar technique. So these lines are going to be following the rolling shape of the hill. So it looks a bit harsh when you're putting down the shadow first, but once you put the base color over it, it kind of comes together. Alex, should we remind the viewers?
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? I think so.
Is that a yes?
Are you also gonna show a little, hey, what's happening?
A little preview of the next painting?
Oh, hey, what's happening?
Oh, yeah. I will.
Oh, yeah. I think you might.
So I do want to remind you guys that we're going to have a giveaway I think in a little bit.
In a little bit.
And very, very soon, actually.
Coming up on it.
So the way that you enter the giveaway is by commenting in the chat, and we are going to select a random person from this chat by using a random name picker. So it's totally random. Alex has a special website that he uses that selects the name. So the more that you comment, the more chances you have of winning. Just putting it out there.
Only one slight caveat.
Yes. Oh. So we're unfortunately only able to ship within the United States for now. But if you are international, we will give you a digital download of one of our paintings. So a painting of your choice. And it comes with the step-by-step instructions, the sample piece, and the traceable. So it's a pretty cool thing. And yeah, so right now we're not able to ship outside of the United States. So, but you still get something.
But we're getting there. We're
getting there. Taking a little bit of time.
Did you remind people how they enter said giveaway?
I did.
Good.
If you were paying attention.
Half. Only half.
And then I also want to show you guys our next month's painting, which I'm super excited about. So this is actually our March box, which is the first Tuesday of March. And we are launching our April box, which is going to be the first Tuesday of April, where we're going to do a free live tutorial, which I'm not sure what date that is yet, but you'll be hearing more about it soon.
Pretty sure it's the 5th.
Is it now?
I'm mostly certain.
Okay. So we do offer Creatively subscription boxes, which you get at the beginning of each month. So we send out a new awesome painting every single month. We provide you with everything you need, and it ships right to your door. So this, like I said, is the March box, and we just launched our April box, which I'll show you the painting. I'm super excited about it. And it's a super convenient way to have everything that you need for the specific painting, where we have the specific colors that you need. You also get the right amount of paints. It also comes with a step-by-step instructions and a traceable. If you need the palette paper as well, so basically everything that you see in the setup. Plus it comes in a really pretty, bright coral box and a smock.
Smock.
And some other surprises in there as well. So it comes in this nice box. It makes a really awesome gift for someone creative or not so creative in your life. So yeah, so definitely check out our website, creativelybox.com. We have a bunch of awesome painting options there. So these hills are coming out pretty good. I'm gonna just continue building up the base color. Okay, there we go. And then you could also add some green to your hills, which is going to give it a really cool effect and texture. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of yellow into my blue. And you could add some strokes of green to the bottom of your hills.
Remind, I see a question, I think it's a good reminder. How can people find you on all the socials? What are you located under?
Oh, well, thank you for asking, Alex.
It's an important question.
So we are Creatively Box. So it's at Creatively Box on Instagram, on Facebook. We also have a TikTok. So if you guys are on TikTok, definitely follow us. We have unique and cool content on there. So yeah, so definitely follow us on all the channels. Love it. So I do want to mention, guys, that putting on this event for free is not easy. It takes a lot of work, blood, sweat, and tears to do this. So I hope that you enjoy yourself and have a lot of fun, and also share our brand with your friends, with your family, and get the word out there that we're Creatively. Our website is creativelybox.com. And please follow us on all the social channels. And also, if you guys had a really awesome time tonight, leave us a review on Facebook. That definitely helps us build trust, and helps us grow. So Alex, I think it is that time.
Which time? Which one?
The time.
The reveal or the pick?
The giveaway.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Okay. Okay.
Actually, wait, you gave me a good idea.
Oh, my Lord. You just literally stopped me. Are you joking?
So I'm actually going to show you guys our April box, which I'm super excited about. And then we're going to do the giveaway right after that. Are you ready, Alex?
I'm ready. Let's
do
this.
The April box is actually right behind me. I'm going to grab it and show you guys. So this is our April box. I am actually super, super excited about this. I feel like this month's box has been a struggle for me personally, just because I felt like nothing was really appropriate during this month because it's just been such a difficult time the last few weeks. So I really wanted to make the theme about peace and love, something super simple, but also really powerful. So this painting is actually obviously a spring peace sign, but it's also in the colors of the Ukrainian flag, and the sunflower is actually the national flower of Ukraine. So it's super meaningful to me. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Alex and I we're from the former Soviet Union, so that's where we were born. And we have a lot of Ukrainian friends and family. So this time has been just super difficult for us, and we want to make the next painting really meaningful. So hopefully you'll join us for this one. And I'm also super excited to announce that I will be donating a portion of each sale of this box. So this painting is actually called One Love, and a portion of each sale of the One Love box will go to a trustworthy Ukrainian organization. So I'm going to tell you guys more about that in the next few days. So definitely check out our website. This box has been launched today, and by purchasing it, you'll be giving back to the Ukrainian community. So super excited about that. So without further ado, Alex.
Da, da, da. Let's see what we got. And the winner is, and please tell me you're from the US. We have
hold on. You just did it so quickly. There's like no anticipation. Oh my God. Did you even say to flood the feed?
Jesus.
Hold up.
I didn't. But I feel there was a natural flooding happening with your reveal. So
okay, I dig it.
So it was more, organic this way.
Okay.
Okay, now.
So I'm ready.
Without further ado, our winner, and please let us know if you're from the US, and you have to have stayed on the live. Or be on the live now.
Yes, because then we'll just pick a different name.
Yes, we will. Is Miss Sherry Carter Brockman. Miss Sherry Brockman.
Sherry Brockman in the house.
Please tell me.
Sherry in the house. Sherry, where are you from, girl? Yes, she's here. Wait, I did not announce. Okay, I did not even tell you what the giveaway is. Hold on, we're just missing a few steps here. But Sherry, I'm glad that you're excited. I'm really glad that you're excited. So for this month's giveaway,
Sherry, where are you from? Yes, Kentucky.
Hold on, Kentucky, yes. Okay, so we'll be able to ship this to you. So Sherry, for this month's giveaway, super exciting. We are gonna be giving this Creatively apron, which I'll show you right here. So it says rock out with your smock out. This is our signature appropriate phrase for the Creatively brand. So you get this really awesome smock that you'll be able to use for painting, for doing whatever else. So super exciting, really cool item, and we'll be shipping it to you. Woohoo! Congrats! And we'll be reaching out to you shortly. Okay, I think Levy's digging our rock out with your smock out phrase. Okay.
It's classic. It's classic.
Okay. So we are gonna do the famous cypress tree. Alex, did you know that this was a cypress tree? Or did you think it was like a crazy swirl just in the painting?
You could have given me so many guesses. None of them would have landed on cypress tree.
No.
Like, bewilderment and a,
it could be like a church.
I feel like it's a fire and a summoning of some stuff is going on. It's, the goddess of fire, very Game of Thrones-ish. It's serious.
Okay.
Anywho, I digress.
Very dark, very dark.
I digress. Well, it is black, but
okay.
I hear you.
So it is a cypress tree. Just letting you know that. So for the cypress tree, feel free to change up the shape. So we are gonna start with the swirl that's at the top. So this one is gonna come around the star that I have to the right side. So we're just gonna do a wavy line. Going all the way down. We're kind of just improvising the shape here, but it's gonna be kind of almost looks like a flame at the bottom. So we're gonna draw this crazy flame shape at the bottom. And then have some swirls going upward, and just make sure that you thin them out at the top. So it's always best to start smaller because you could always add more black color to it and make this shape larger. But once you make something too big, then it's really hard to take it away. So we're just gonna be building up these curves, and some of them could go right into the star and kind of overlap some of the stars. And then there's gonna be some curves coming out of the side. So it almost looks like a flame. And then we're gonna paint it in. Ida, I'm so glad that you're rocking our smock. That makes me super happy. So we're just gonna be painting this in, and you could definitely switch over to the large brush to paint this large shape. So even though I'm painting it in a solid color, I want to make sure that I'm still following the shape of the cypress tree and just going along with the movement of it. So my lines are not just completely vertical, they're also curving and following its shape. So if anyone is daring, you could use the real Starry Night reference and add some of the buildings in the background. But the simplified version is just as beautiful, so no pressure at all. So I'm just gonna add some green strokes to the cypress tree to kind of give it some movement. So I'm just gonna wash my brush. And I'm gonna mix some green, or if you already have it pre-mixed on your palette paper, you could totally use that. So I'm just adding some blue and some yellow. And I'm just gonna add some strokes of green going along the movement of the cypress tree. So it's gonna be these curvy lines and they're mixing into the black color. And it's a bit subtle, but it is giving it some movement. So I'm gonna wash my brush, and Alex, you ready for this? So this is pretty much our last step. No.
Come on now.
Pre-last.
Pre-last.
Step.
Pre-last.
So I'm gonna use the green color. So I'm gonna mix it again because right now I have the black in it, so I want it to be just green. And we're gonna add some, I'm gonna show you guys on the reference. So there's some curvy shapes on the bottom of this hill. So it's almost like half circles on the bottom. And actually I'll show you on the real thing. I don't know why I'm showing you on the sample piece, but over here you could see these curvy shapes. So it's kind of like half circles just going across the bottom hill. So we're just gonna add that and it's gonna give the bottom part some more movement and more texture and more personality. Kind of hard to see for some reason with this lighting, but I'm just adding some curvy lines to the bottom of this hill. And I could also add some to this hill as well. You could also add those lines using blue so they stand out more. So for the last step, guys, Alex, you ready? The last step is to sign your name.
Oh, yes.
So this one, it's a little bit tricky.
Let it be known, it's yours.
Exactly. So your name is definitely a part of the artwork. So definitely think about where you want to place it. I would probably place my name on this hill somewhere. So your name is a part of the artwork. Definitely take time to make it nice. And that was it for our abridged version of Starry Night. So feel free to continue building up the texture of your sky. You could literally keep working on it for hours and hours and build up the texture. And don't forget to post what you created on social and tag us, Creatively Boxed, so we could see it and share it with our network. So thank you guys so much for joining. Till next time, till our April painting.
Yes,
One love.
can't wait to see you guys next month.
Woohoo!